When you say Grace Forsyth, believe you me, is well known.
Okay.
That was my name when I came as my maiden name, which is Adeoye, but then Forsyth.
Wow. Adeoye
So
Forsyth.
when you say Grace Forsyth, it's well known.
Yes, Mommy. Thank you, Mommy.
So maybe we use that.
Okay. I want you to
We will go with Grace Forsyth.
go with that one.
Yes. Mommy, the first question I have to ask you is, where were you in 1960?
I was in England.
You were in England?
Yes, because I came here in 1958, recruited as a nurse from Nigeria to here.
Okay.
Nice.
Where were you a nurse at?
I was still doing my nursing at Abeokuta
Okay.
General Hospital.
Okay.
After I finished the first 6 months training at Ibadan, I was located to Abeokuta. That was when they started recruiting nurses from Nigeria, from all over the world, to come and help here because of shortage of nurses. And we were still under British then. So we were recruited there. We have no say because they paid for our fare and everything, and few of us were brought here.
So they took you from the African heat into
That's right, to the cold. Straight to live in the nurses' home.
Okay.
And we have to sign that for the 3 years training, you must not be pregnant or have a child. You have to sign. So you must finish your 3 years training before you do that.
Wow. So they impacted your social life,
yes,
for their professional outcome.
But we didn't see it as anything bad. We thought it's good.
Hey.
And
you know, at the end of the day.
Yeah, that was it. Signed. Yes.
Wow.
And you must live in the nurse's home.
The entire time, for those 3 years.
Until you finish. So after 3 years, then you can do whatever you like.
So was the accommodation paid for and all of that? Were you salaried?
Accommodation, we were well looked after from scratch.
Okay.
Accommodation was paid for, and we were, at that time, we were paid £5 a month anyway.
Wow.
Yes, and it was a big money to us. And we were all taken to the post office, lined up to the post office to show us how to open an account.
Wow.
So that we can be putting money into the accounts. We were treated just like a kindergarten child. You lined up and they
You were being recruited.
And how to save, investment, everything from scratch. And then even the nursing I did in Nigeria, they didn't count it, so we started right from scratch. All of us that came, West Indies, everywhere, all the friends, everybody, the Indians, the West Indians, everybody, we were, there together.
So, Mommy, may I ask you, when you were studying to be a nurse in Abeokuta,
yes,
what curriculum were you using back then?
It's the same as here. It's the same because we are under Britain. Yeah, we were paid the same money, the same type of uniform. Everything was the same.
But when they brought you here, they got you to start all over again.
Yeah, but to start the training again under them. Okay. Because I didn't finish. I only did just over a year.
And that didn't count towards you
coming? No, it wasn't counted. It wasn't counted. But it helped me. It did help few of us that had been trained before.
Okay.
Oh, it really helped me a lot.
Okay.
Because training in Nigeria, believe you me, you cannot compare it. The training was good.
Okay.
So I was really topping the class in anatomy and physiology.
Wow.
I really enjoyed it and I liked it. I didn't mind.
That's fantastic, Mom. That's fantastic. So, okay.
So to do 3 years.
Sorry?
I said for the 3 years. You cannot do that now. Sign to say you cannot be pregnant or get married, or you must live in nursing home. And when we are even going on holiday, you must sign where you are going, the person you are going to stay with. They have to ask that person as well, the hospital authority, that you are going to stay in that place for your holiday.
Wow.
And that's it. Everything is signed for.
Wow. Okay. So that's a very involved process. It was a very involved process. The integration of Nigerians into the UK economy.
Yes.
To serve within the economy. But they first of all took 3 years from you, gave you training, set you up in terms of having bank accounts.
That's right.
Monitored your living.
Monitor our movements. Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
We're really well cared for and well looked after.
Okay. So, but prior to that, you were living in Nigeria.
I was living in Nigeria in the nurses' home as well.
Okay.
I was still in training. The training continued. It's supposed to be 3 years as well.
Okay.
I already did just over
a year.
Under a year. It was under a year.
Okay.
Still living in the nurses' home.
Okay.
Because training starts from Ibadan Eleyele.
Okay.
6 months training. And then you will be allocated to different parts of Nigeria.
Okay.
And I was allocated to Abeokuta.
Okay.
But eventually, they didn't tell us. We just saw that everybody was allocated to Oyo, different parts of Ife, different parts of Kano, and things like that. It was later we were informed that everybody was allocated to the country where, to the town where they were born. I was born in Abeokuta.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, I was born in Abeokuta. So it was later I said, oh, it's good. I was born in Abeokuta. My mom is from Abeokuta. Okay. My dad is from Ife. And my dad was teaching at Abeokuta then.
Okay.
So
Mommy,
all right with me.
Sorry, go on.
So it was all right with me to work in Abeokuta.
Okay, so Mommy, would you say what would you say about the health system and infrastructure back then in 1958, prior to you coming to London?
Very good.
What do you think about the infrastructure?
It was good.
Okay.
Because when we came to England, we didn't see much difference in the training we have had and with the training we were still having. It was good. Stayed the same system.
And what do you, I mean, I'm sure
the only thing that's different is the food. That is the only thing. And eventually we got used to the food.
Of course.
Because Africans, we like meat and all that.
Of course.
Don't laugh about it, because there was a time we went and we bought a pig's head.
Wow.
It was very cheap. It was 6 pence. Yes. 6 pence. 6 pence. We bought it, my friend and myself, we bought it and we put it in the oven.
Yeah.
So we thought, when it's ready to take it out, believe you, and we have a nursing sister looking after everybody in the nursing home. Unfortunately, she went to the oven, saw it. She ran. They have to call the police because they said that somebody said in the oven. I will never forget. Somebody said in the oven. So that thing created a lot of palaver and pandemonium.
So basically, you would say that the cultural difference.
The cultural difference.
Yes.
So because you've never seen it, because pig's head is fed to cats and to dogs.
Yes.
It's given free or sold for 6 pence.
Okay.
And fish head is given free.
Yes.
So we Africans will go there and tell them we have 2 cats, we have two dogs.
Wow.
Because they will ask, so they were giving us and we are cooking it and eating it. It was free. It was fed to cats and dogs.
Wow.
But we have to cook it, secretly, without them knowing. because we eat rice. And eating rice in those days, when they saw us cooking rice and we eat it, they said, this is funny. It's only birds that eat rice in England at that time. Only birds eat rice. They will only eat rice as rice pudding.
Mm-hmm.
So, mommy,
eventually we taught them how to eat rice.
Now, everybody eats rice than we do.
mommy
Yes,
said
it's
you
only
don't know how to eat rice. Okay. So, mommy, in your opinion,
Yes.
what would you say were the major, aside from just, I mean, you've given at least 3 examples
Yes.
of the difference in terms of cuisine, how
Yes.
they approached food,
Yes.
and how you actually had an understanding of food. What would you say were other differences and similarities between Nigeria and between Britain at that time?
Right. Is the color. Because they keep asking us questions why we are black. It's so funny. Yes.
Really?
They did ask, why is it we are black? We don't know. We just say well, we are black because we were born in the tropics. That's what we said.
We don't
So
know.
because we were born in the tropics and by black parents,
Yes.
the amount of questions they ask is terrible. Even to, we are black. And then, how do we know when to take a bath? Because we wouldn't know with our color. They say, and we tell them, we take bath regularly every day. We must have a bath every day. It's the cultural thing. But they don't. They don't have bath. We are the one who taught few of them how to take a bath every day. They don't. So we were so happy because in the nurses' home, we have fantastic bathroom. It's only the black nurses that were using the bathroom to bath. They will only bath maybe once a week. We are using morning, evening, and it was very nice. Central heating. It was boiling hot. The nurses' home. The room, we were the only one bathing. And another bad story that is bad. Well, it's not bad.
No, but this is just how they were raised.
There's a Nigerian girl who came to join us. She was thrown out of one hospital. Her name is Ebomoyi, Igbo girl.
Okay.
She is tough. Later, we found out that she was thrown out of one hospital and then joined us. By then, we were in our second year. Ebomoyi came, she could speak Yoruba fluently, but she was a character. Now, because one day she was asked, why is she black? When they throw that question to me, I just said, well, my parents are black and we are from the tropics. That is what I said. That's why I said because of the sun. When this nurse asked her why, that she wanted to see her tail, because they still believe we have tail. This was a story that happened. She wanted to see.
So this was in the 60s. This was in the early
60s. The nurse asked her.
1959.
Yeah, in the 60s,
Yeah.
59, 60. She said, if you don't mind, if they asked me, I wouldn't behave the way Ebomoyi behaved. She behaved badly, but then at the same time, it's good.
Yes.
I said, you could have just educated her, tell her you don't have and do we sleep on top of the tree? These are the things we were asked.
Wow.
So Ebomoyi said, oh, yes, I have. Oh, the girl was very curious. She said she wanted to see it. Ebomoyi took it. Was a terrible thing. The Indian girl was sad. She was sad. Ebomoyi took her to the bathroom and she undressed. Ebomoyi undressed completely. The girl was looking. She said, oh, no, you have to undress as well, like me. And this was thick winter, February. When we say winter, there's no more winter again now. We have winter in those days. You cannot even touch anything. It's freezing cold. The winter we had then is time 100 now. Like what? Very, very cold. Everybody said you have to undress so that we compare, ourselves. Oh, she said she doesn't. She said you have to because look at my tail. This is but there is no tail. So well, I want to so that we can compare. The girl undressed. Ebomoyi filled the bath with cold water and throw her in there. Ebomoyi now dressed up crying, heavy crying to the matron's office that the nurse tore her, and she tore her uniform. Everybody tore her uniform. Tore her uniform because she wants to see her tail.
Wow.
She said she doesn't believe she hasn't got a tail. Of course, they will believe the money.
Yes.
So the girl was thrown out.
Wow.
Nurses' home. That actually happened.
So that was just basically highlighting cultural differences
Thank you.
between.
They've asked me before if we have flour in Africa. Yeah, because in those days, when they bring flour to the parents, to their parents or visitor, wear the flour into flour vase to put it on the table. No, it was visiting time. This woman, the daughter was there. She said, no, before you go, after giving her the flour nicely, you have flowers in the country, in your country. I said, yes. I said, that is as a tropical country. We have lots of flour, better than this. And the daughter said, don't be the silly mommy. Why should you have that sort of? I said, sorry, she wants to know. I will tell them what to know, educate them. But some nurses will not. They get angry and it will physical fight sometimes because of the questions they start asking.
So, in your opinion, Mommy, was the questions they were asking, was it purely out of ignorance?
Ignorance, because we don't know, because they are educated. Before we came here, we went to school and we were taught all about white people and about eating. There's different ways of heating your house and things like that. How come they have no clue about plants?
So again, this is an entirely different cultural
What
understanding.
about personal hygiene?
Yeah.
Personal hygiene in Nigeria is like a crime. If you don't have a bath, you'll be
Of
flogged.
course.
You'll be flogged. But they don't do that here because of their weather. It's too cold. Even we have the privilege of having bath every day because we live in the environment that is centrally heated. People living outside don't have a bath because there was no bathroom in their houses.
Very true.
Yeah, what they are using now is the swimming
The swimming baths.
Yes. Swimming baths was where people will line up in the 59, 60, 61, up to 64. They still line up in their dressing gown to go and have a bath there weekly. Because there is no bathroom in the house. And it's really dirty and smelly. The nursing in Nigeria, we prefer it to here because they were very dirty and they have lice. We were taught about lice in Nigeria. We've never saw one. We only saw the picture of it. But here, we saw it happening.
Wow.
And it has different names. Lice in the head is different from the one here and down and everywhere.
Wow.
Pediculus pubis, pediculus capitals, but we have to look for it when we admit patients. We look for lice, both men and women.
So, Mommy, would you say that in a way that, because obviously of the cross-cultural narrative, would you say that you had to educate?
We had to educate them.
Okay.
We had to educate them a lot. Okay. And sometimes they take it, sometimes they didn't take it. But most of the time they take it, because when we told them we have bath every day and that our country is not cold, so we have and personal hygiene about cleaning the mouth, they don't brush their teeth and they have all the facility. We have to brush our teeth morning, afternoon in Nigeria. If you don't brush your teeth, you are flogged in Nigeria. And we don't have the toothpaste and toothbrush. We are using stick to clean our teeth. And cotton wool and salt is what we were brushing our teeth with.
And Paco.
And later Paco came in. But with me, salt and cotton wool. Because 1938,
yes.
Don't have Paco. The only Paco they have is for adults.
Okay.
The yellow one, the wuro is for adults, not for children.
For those who will be listening to this later, Paco is chewing stick.
It's chewing stick. Yeah, it's chewing stick. They say it because they saw me with chewing stick. I use chewing stick before I brush my teeth here. So all those important things to us and to the West Indian girls as well, we were all behaving the same way, clean, but they are not clean. They are not clean. Personal hygiene was different from us and them. Because we have to look for these things.
So, Mommy, when you think about it now, what would you say impresses you? Because I've heard from what you've just said now, a lot of things that impress me about my culture as a Nigerian. What would you say impresses you about Nigeria and Nigerians?
And again, greeting is very important to us in Nigeria.
Benima.
Here, when you see your, hello, good morning, it's got nothing. They don't say good morning. We are saying good morning. And sometimes they complain, oh, must you say good morning? She greets me. So greeting is very important to Nigerians in different words. In the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, if you are sitting down, you will say that, if you cough, you will be greeted. If you yawn, I mean, all those things important to us in Nigeria. Now here, you don't have to greet. Like in the school in Nigeria, you get there, you say good morning to the teacher. When we get to the lecture room here, you don't say good morning to anybody. You just get there and you sit down and you carry on. But we are doing it with our hands behind us, and they just laugh at us, especially the Nigerians, the lecturer in the classroom, nursing. When we say, good morning, Mr. Osmond, that was his name. He said, must you put your hand? We do that. Honestly, we bow, you put your hand, and we carried on. That is our lecture. It took us a long time. We couldn't even get out of it. But you must say good morning, good night, good afternoon, bye-bye, and all that. They don't do it. And it's their language.
It's true. But the thing is...
And we respect.
The way I look at it is, you say it's their language, but we understand their language, but we also suppose our culture onto the language.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
So just along those lines, so these are the things that you find that impresses you about Nigerians in terms of the way we treat ourselves with regard and respect and reverence, I guess.
Yes. And then saying sir to the lecturer, oh my goodness. Or if you want to ask questions, straight away my hand is up. Because I know more about that. Answer, and when you, what is it great? I will stand up to answer. Oh, please sit down.
But Mommy, when you think about today's society, today's generation, what do you think when you think about that? Do you think that tradition is still being carried on? And I'm talking about both Nigerian and British children. Nigerian children raised in Britain and British children raised in Nigeria, and vice versa.
It's gone down the roof. It's gone down the roof. I will add this one. Kneel down before you greet me. Because in Nigeria, you have to kneel down.
Before you greet.
The boys have to prostrate.
Yes.
In the morning, all the time. Never mind morning, all the time. All that has died down. When we saw it, we are just the men will not bow, But the girl, hello, mom. Sometimes they don't even say anything.
Thanks.
That's what you.
No, but Mommy, when you do see somebody greet you the way you know you should be greeted, how do you feel nowadays?
It is very good. You admire, you feel really nice and really enjoy it.
Okay.
And that culture is there. The greeting is well, taken, accepted. Like, hello, mom.
Yes, Mommy.
Odabo, Kabo. And we are trying to teach them the Yoruba too. And I think they need to know more about this Yoruba culture.
Yes.
It's very important.
It's a cultural dynamic because it is in all different. In all different nations. It's actually not just Yoruba. There's Igbo and there's Hausa. We all have our different ways of greeting and expressing those
Yes.
cultural understandings. But when you come to the UK, I remember being, I went to Vauxhall College in London to do my OND, my Ordinary National Diploma in Construction and Land Management. And the one thing that I can tell you is, I remember one of the times when I walked into the lecture hall, and I said to Richard Kerr, he was one of our teachers. I said, "Oh, good afternoon, sir," and I was being very, cordial and civil and respectful. And he just looked at me and he shook his head. It's like, what is all of this about? But I'm talking about this is stuff that happened in the 90s, and then you now look at it and you think to yourself, wait a second. This person it doesn't really matter to them if you're being respectful to them because you see them as an elder or somebody that you should pay respect to. And it's not something that they actually look at as something that's very...
Even to teaching them when you yawn, you have to cover
your mouth.
In Nigeria, you cannot just open your big mouth and you will be slapped. So many of my friends in the nurses' home, when don't do that, especially as a girl, you cover your mouth. Why grace is not nice? Especially if you're a girl, cover your mouth. Don't just yawn and open your mouth wide. Those are the things that they lack. And we should admire ourselves the way we were brought up. And even coughing, you have to put your... It's only now because of COVID. You are doing
washing your hands.
and use your... And then handkerchief is well used in Nigeria. You don't have tissue, cotton, and even up till today, if you go to Nigeria, handkerchiefs is well sold. Cotton handkerchiefs, white handkerchiefs. You have to have handkerchief in your hand in case you cough, in case something. Your parents, have you put handkerchief in your bag, especially being a girl? That was cultural. So you up to now, look, even my hand. Culture, you have to have handkerchief under here all the time. In case you cough or something happen, you need to have handkerchief.
So, Mommy, thinking about that, you've just mentioned culture. So think about the culture, because we have three main nations, tribes, however people want to call it. We have Igbo, Hausa, and Yoruba. Yes. How do you think that has affected Nigeria, and how did you think it was affected? Because Nigeria got amalgamated just before independence. So it got amalgamated, as in the north and southern part of Nigeria got put together in the 1950s, and then shortly afterwards, in 1960, we became independent. How do you feel that has affected Nigeria's growth?
Now, when I heard, because I was here, I didn't live here until 1969.
Okay.
So I wasn't aware about what is going on. It's not talked about. And, living in the environment we are, I didn't know. But when I got to Nigeria and I heard about it, has been fractured. It is disgusting. I don't like it. It's not nice. If we left it as the three, believe you me, the unity is there. Even though we do things differently in the north, in the south, in the west, we are still united in one form or the other. But all these fractured 36 states is not working. It's not helping at all. It's just a way to siphon money and things like that. They are not looking into the benefits that when we were three. To me, I cannot see any benefits anymore. They are just looking at what they can gain.
Okay. So, Mommy, you were here when Nigeria gained independence. Did you hear about it?
Oh my goodness, I didn't hear. I was too busy in my nurse's home.
So you didn't know Nigeria got independent?
No, it was 1961, a year after, when they were celebrating 1 year. It was all announced and everything was, Nigeria is having 1 year independent. It's not relevant to us. Honestly, because it's nothing that is talked about in the nurses' home. Nobody is talking about it. Because
it wasn't in the newspapers or anything like that?
We don't read newspaper in the nurses' home. You are reading your lecture book.
Mommy was focused on her career.
It's the career thing. And you don't have a family writing to you. You don't get letters or phone and things. So communication was not really there.
Understood.
Yeah. And we are not the type to be going out to parties. You don't have time for all that. You are engrossed into what you are doing.
But you were saying also that at
Yes.
the time, that kind of political information wasn't really seeped into the population.
And not at
This
all.
is UK.
Yes.
It's happening in Nigeria.
It's
Nigeria's independence.
It's in Nigeria independence. It's got nothing to do
With the UK.
Maybe people that are living outside, we are living in a boarding
In a community of that, yeah.
They are combed off. Maybe that is why.